The spaceport was busy as usual. Ships landed and took off. Aliens from every corner of the galaxy walked through the hall. But everything stopped when she entered. She was tall, with smooth purple skin and glowing silver eyes. Her long black cloak moved gently with each step. But it wasn't her that people feared. It was what walked beside her. A giant beast, covered in black and silver scales, moved with her. It was huge, twice the size of a human. Its long tail dragged behind, and its glowing red eyes looked at everyone like they were prey. Thick metal chains hung around its neck, its body scarred and powerful. People gasped. Some backed away, others hid behind cargo crates. She brought the monster again, someone whispered. Don't look into its eyes. It senses fear, another alien warned. The alien girl, Verena, didn't seem to care. She walked calmly through the middle of the crowd, as if she were alone. The beast growled, and a group of security bots raised their weapons. The moment felt heavy. One wrong move, and the beast would attack. But that's when he appeared. A human, tall, rough-looking, with messy brown hair and a worn-out jacket. He had a simple backpack on his shoulder and a confident smirk on his face. Jack Reeve, cargo pilot, scavenger, and explorer. He saw the girl. He saw the beast. And unlike the others, he walked straight toward them. The guards shouted, "Human! Stay back!" But Jack kept walking. Slowly. Calmly. Verena's silver eyes narrowed. No one ever came close to her beast, not without fear in their eyes. But Jack? He looked curious, even amused. He stopped a few feet away. The beast growled deep in its throat. Baring its teeth, it took a step forward. The guards shouted again, ready to fire. But Jack did something strange. He held out his hand. Everyone gasped. What was he doing? Did he want to die? The beast looked at the hand. Its muscles tensed. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, the beast sniffed, and suddenly the monster purred. A deep, soft rumble came from its chest. It leaned forward, and let Jack touch its head. Everyone in the spaceport froze. Even the bots stopped moving. Verena's eyes widened. She opened her mouth but said nothing. Jack chuckled. "What's his name?" he asked casually. "His name is Skarn," she said, still in shock. "Nice to meet you, Skarn," Jack said, scratching behind one of the beast's horns. Verena couldn't believe it. You're not afraid?" Jack shrugged. "I've met uglier things that tried to eat me." The beast let out a snort, as if laughing. The crowd slowly began to move again, but whispers filled the air. "Did you see that? The human touched the monster. No one's ever done that and lived." Verena stared at the human. He was different. Not just brave, strange. No one had ever treated her or Skarn like that. "Why did you approach us?" she asked. Jack smiled. "I saw everyone running away from something. That usually means something interesting is going on." She raised a brow. "Interesting? Most think we're cursed." Jack looked at her seriously for a moment. "Maybe. Or maybe you're just misunderstood." For the first time in a long while, Verena felt something warm in her chest. She cleared her throat and turned. "I'm going to the southern market." Jack nodded. "Mind if I walk with you?" She glanced down at Skarn. The beast looked calm, almost happy. "Fine. But don't get in the way." Jack grinned. "Wouldn't dream of it." As they walked together through the port, the crowd parted in silence. Everyone stared. The alien, girl, her deadly pet, and the strange human who wasn't afraid. Something had changed, and neither Verena nor her monster knew why their hearts suddenly felt a little less alone. Verena didn't sleep well that night, even though her hideout was hidden deep, inside the rocky canyons of planet Valter. And even though Skarn was curled up near the entrance like a living fortress, her mind kept going back to the human, Jack Reeve, the human who touched Skarn without fear. The one who walked beside her like it was the most normal thing in the galaxy. She didn't trust him. But her heart said something else. The next day, the sun rose like fire behind the hills. Verena was out early, feeding Skarn chunks of salted meat. The beast ate slowly, but its glowing eyes kept flicking toward the entrance like it was waiting. She noticed. "What are you looking for?" Skarn let out a low rumble. Then, footsteps. Verena spun, ready to fight, but it wasn't an enemy. It, too, was him again, Jack, he waved. "Brought some fuel and tools, thought you might need repairs. Your power lines are kind of fried." Verena narrowed her eyes. "How did you find me?" Jack smirked. "Your giant monster left footprints the size of dinner plates." She should have been angry. But Skarn jumped up and ran straight to Jack like an excited puppy. The beast lowered its head and let Jack scratch its neck again. Verena froze. No one has ever earned Skarn's trust like that. Jack shrugged. "He's got good taste in people." Then he looked at her, more serious now. "What is he anyway? This isn't a normal pet." Verena hesitated. She looked around, then stepped closer. "He is not a pet," she said quietly. "He is a shadow fang, one of the last of his kind, bred by my ancestors to guard the royal family. They bond for life, kill without question, but only choose one soul." Jack raised an eyebrow. "And you're the chosen one?" She nodded. "Since I was a child, Skarn killed 3 warriors to protect me. He would die for me, or kill the galaxy." Jack looked at Skarn. "But he listens to me." Verena's voice became colder. "That is what worries me." Jack didn't reply. Instead, he walked past her, into her broken shelter. "You got problems with your solar core," he said, pulling out a tool. "Let me fix it." She followed, confused. "Why are you doing this?" Jack smiled without turning around. "Because I like puzzles. And because your monster likes me. That counts for something." Over the next few hours, Verena watched him work. Jack didn't act like most humans. He didn't stare at her like she was strange. He didn't fear Skarn. He didn't even ask for payment. He just helped. She made them tea. He joked that it tasted like boiled mud. She smirked. A small smirk, but real. Then it happened. A warning cry from Skarn. Jack dropped the tools. Verena grabbed her spear. 3 alien hunters dropped from the cliffs above, mercenaries, blood armor, laser nets. They had tracked Skarn's scent. "You're worth a fortune, monster." One of them laughed. Verena moved fast, throwing her spear, but it was knocked away. Jack tried to tackle one but was hit by a stun shot. He fell hard. The mercenaries aimed a net gun at Skarn. Big mistake. The beast roared. It tore through the net, slammed one mercenary into the rock wall, and pounced on the second. The third tried to run, until Verena tackled him herself. She held, her blade to his neck, breathing hard. The canyon went silent. Skarn stood guard over Jack, growling low. But it wasn't anger in his eyes. It was worry. Verena ran to Jack. "Are you hurt?" Jack sat up slowly. "I've had worse hangovers." She helped him up. Skarn leaned in, licking his arm gently. That's when Verena understood. "He's bonded with you." Jack looked confused. "What do you mean?" She stared at him. "He doesn't see you as a stranger anymore. You're one of us now, whether you like it or not." Jack looked at Skarn, then at her, and smiled. "Guess I've got a monster for a best friend now." Verena didn't say it, but her heart whispered, maybe more than that. Jack woke up to the sound of something scraping stone. He opened his eyes to find Skarn, the beast, carefully pushing a cooked piece of meat toward him with its giant paw. The beast looked at him, then nudged the food again like a mother would. "Too for a baby," Jack blinked. "You're feeding me breakfast?" Skarn huffed and turned away, pretending he didn't just do something cute. Verena stood nearby, arms crossed, watching. "You're lucky," she said quietly. "Because I'm alive?" Jack asked. "No," she replied. "Because he accepts you." Jack sat up and stretched. You keep saying that like it's a curse. Verena didn't answer. She turned and walked toward the cliff edge near her hideout. Her long cloak fluttered in the dry wind. Jack followed. The view was stunning, miles of red and gold rock stretching under twin suns. But her face was distant. He asked softly, "Why are you really out here, Verena? You've got a beast no one dares fight. You could live anywhere." She said nothing, for a while. Then she whispered, "Because I have no tribe." Jack frowned. "What happened?" Verena didn't look at him. Her voice stayed calm but cold. "My tribe banished me. They said Scarn was cursed, that his kind brings ruin. When he bonded with me as a child, they saw it as an omen. First they isolated us. Then they tried to kill him." Jack's jaw tightened. "They failed," she added. "Scarn defended me, but blood was spilled. After that, we were cast out. No home, no family, just the two of us." Jack looked at her. "I'm sorry," she gave a sad smile. "Don't be. I stopped needing others long ago." But Jack didn't believe that. No one stops needing others. Later that day, they walked through the nearby canyon. Jack had offered to help her hunt rare plants that glowed under moonlight. Valuable stuff on black markets. Verena agreed, though she warned him that many creatures hunted in the night. Scarn moved ahead, sniffing and growling softly at rocks and shadows. Jack asked, "Do you ever miss them? Your people?" Verena stayed silent. Then quietly she replied, "I used to dream they'd take me back. That one day they'd see I was loyal. That Scarn wasn't a monster. But those dreams died." Jack paused. "Do you know what I think?" She looked at him. "I think they were cowards, afraid of what they couldn't control, afraid of you." That made her stop walking. No one had ever said that to her. "Afraid of me?" Jack nodded. "You're strong, loyal, brave, and you have a beast that would burn down planets for you. That kind of power, it scares weak people." She turned away to hide the strange warmth in her face. Then something changed. Scarn growled, a deep warning growl. Jack pulled his small blaster. Verena froze. "Something's watching us." From the shadows of the canyon, glowing green eyes appeared. Multiple. Then, more. Jack whispered, "How many?" "Too many," Verena replied. "Cave runners, wild pack beasts, thin bodies, fast legs, razor-sharp teeth. Usually ran in groups of 5. This was a group of 20. The pack circled. Scarn stood in front of Jack and Verena like a living wall, teeth bared, tail ready to strike. Jack held his blaster tight. "We're not getting out of this easy." But Verena stepped forward. Calmly, boldly, she pulled something from her belt. A bone whistle, ancient and carved. "What are you doing?" Jack hissed. Verena didn't reply. She blew the whistle. High, sharp sound echoed through the canyon. The cave runners flinched. Then, slowly, they backed away. They didn't run, but they lowered their heads and vanished back into the dark. Jack stared. What the hell was that? She turned to him. "This whistle belonged to the first beast tamer of my bloodline. Only those with the blood and the bond can use it." Jack blinked. "So you're not just any outcast." Verena nodded slowly. "I'm the last heir of the Skyfang clan." For a moment, everything was quiet. Then Jack smiled. "And here I thought I was just helping a lonely girl with a big dog." She smirked, just a little. But her heart beat faster than it had in years. The desert winds howled that night. Verena and Jack sat near a small fire outside her rocky hideout. Above them, the sky glowed with twin moons and cold stars. Scarn lay nearby, curled around them, like a wall of muscle and scale, his chest rising and falling with slow, steady breaths. Jack poked the fire with a stick. "You know," he said, I've traveled to over 50 planets, seen lightning storms in zero gravity, watched suns die. But this is the first time I've felt peace. Verena stared into the flames. Her voice was soft. Because no one's chasing you? Jack chuckled. That too. But I think it's because of you. And him. Skarn let out a sleepy growl. Verena gave the smallest smile. But the peace didn't last. Suddenly, Skarn's ears shot up. His head snapped toward the canyon. His entire body went tense, like a loaded weapon. Jack stood instantly. What is it? Verena rose and grabbed her spear. He senses danger. A sharp whistle sliced through the air. Too late. Something exploded behind them. The fire died. Smoke filled the air. Jack grabbed Verena and dove behind a rock. Blaster shots rained down from the cliffs above. They were under attack. Figures in black armor dropped from ropes. Mercenaries. At least 6 of them, faces hidden, guns glowing red. Target the beast, one shouted. Verena's eyes went wide. They're not here for me. They're here for Skarn. Jack fired back, but they were outnumbered. He ducked behind cover. Someone must have followed us from the market. That bounty. Another voice shouted from above. We'll take the monster alive. Kill the girl and the human if needed. Jack's grip tightened. Verena stood tall. She looked at Skarn, who was chained near the cave wall for resting. He snarled but didn't move. His bond kept him from acting without her command. Skarn, defend, she shouted. The beast roared, breaking. Its chain like it was thread. It launched forward, slamming into one of the mercenaries with bone-crushing force. Another merc tried to stab him. Skarn bit his entire arm off, but there were too many. One of them threw a sonic net at the beast. It wrapped around him. He roared again, loud, angry, but trapped. No, Verena cried. She ran forward. Only, for a shock dart to hit her in the side, she dropped to her knees. Jack screamed her name. The leader of the group stepped forward. Forget the beast, grab the girl, she's the key to controlling it. Jack's eyes burned. He moved fast, grabbing Verena's fallen spear. The merc who tried to touch her never saw it coming. Jack drove the spear straight through the man's chest. Blood sprayed. The merc collapsed. Skarn, seeing Jack hurt and Verena down, snapped. The beast broke the net. Muscles ripped, eyes burning red. Skarn unleashed hell. He jumped on 2 more mercenaries, smashing them into the rocks like toys. The leader tried to run, but a tail slammed him into the wall so hard the stone cracked. Only one merc remained. He raised his gun at Jack. A blast fired, but it didn't hit Jack. Verena had shielded him with her own body. She cried out in pain, falling into his arms. No, no, no. Jack grabbed her, heart racing. Skarn stood over them, growling at the last merc, who dropped his gun and ran screaming into the dark. The battle was over, but Jack was shaking. Verena, stay with me. You saved me. Why? She coughed, weak but alive. Because you made me feel worth saving. Jack held her close. Skarn lowered his head beside them, whining like a hurt animal. You're not alone anymore, Jack whispered. You hear me? Neither of you are, for the first time in years, and Verena cried, not from pain but from hope. 3 days passed since the ambush. Verena's wound had healed, thanks to her alien body's fast recovery and the medical supplies Jack brought from his ship. She could walk now, slowly. Skarn never left her side, growling softly whenever the wind shifted like it carried danger. But today, danger wasn't what Verena feared. It was something else, something worse. Loss. Jack stood near the edge of the canyon, his backpack slung over one shoulder. His face looked calm, but there was something strange in his eyes. Skarn watched him, unmoving. Verena walked up behind them, her voice low. You're leaving. Jack turned around slowly. I have to, he said. She blinked, trying to keep her face emotionless. Why? He looked down. That bounty on Skarn's head, it's growing. I heard whispers at the station. They're coming with heavier weapons next time. Military-grade stuff. And you think leaving will stop them? No, he said, but it might keep them from finding you. Skarn let out a low growl, almost like a protest. Verena stepped closer. So that's it? You save my life, bond with Skarn, become part of our pack, and then vanish like smoke? Jack looked into her eyes. You're strong. Stronger than anyone I've met. You don't need me. She shook her head. That's not true. We were alone for years, and I was fine with that. Until you showed up. He said nothing. She kept going. You touched Skarn like he was a friend. You touched me like I was more than a girl with a monster. You made this place feel like home. Jack's throat tightened. You're not just someone we met, she whispered. You're part of us now. Silence. Then Jack sighed. He pulled a small device from his pocket, a worn-out data chip. I was going to leave this behind. Took it confused. My flight records, coordinates, my personal signal code. If you ever need me, really need me, send a ping. She stared at the chip. Or, you could just stay. He looked down. If I stay, I'll be putting you in danger. You already did, she said. And I would let it happen again, because some dangers are worth it. He smiled at that. You sound like a human. She stepped even closer now, just a few inches away. And you sound like someone who's scared to belong. He swallowed hard. Then, without warning, Skarn stood and walked between them. He sat, blocking Jack's path. Jack laughed softly. Even your monster doesn't want me to go. Verena smirked. He's not a monster. Not anymore. They stood, there in silence, the wind blowing dust around their feet. Finally, Jack dropped his backpack. I guess I can stay a little longer. Skarn grunted in approval and lay down again like nothing happened. Verena looked at Jack, her voice barely a whisper. I don't want you to stay a little. I want you to stay for real. Jack nodded slowly. Then I'll fight for that. She smiled, truly smiled, for the first time in years. That night the fire crackled again, not as a signal of danger but of warmth. Verena leaned against Jack's shoulder, Skarn curled around them like a living fortress. The stars above blinked, but the real light sat with them below. For the first time, the girl who had no tribe had found one. The desert air was colder than usual that night. A storm was brewing far across the horizon, lightning flashing in the distance like silent fireworks. But inside the cave, everything was warm, safe. Verena sat beside Jack, her hand resting lightly on his arm. Skarn lay in front of them, his massive body like a wall of muscle and protection. His glowing eyes blinked slowly. He was relaxed but alert, always alert. Jack spoke first. You know, he said softly, I used to think bonding meant chains, losing your freedom. Verena looked at him. And now? Jack looked at her and smiled. Now I think it means finding someone you'd fight the galaxy for. She didn't answer with words. She simply leaned her head against his shoulder. The next day, the three of them journeyed out together. Verena said there was a sacred place nearby, a cliff temple hidden in the rocks, abandoned by her ancestors. It was once a trial ground where warriors proved their strength and loyalty. Jack didn't care much for old temples, but he liked walking beside her. Skarn walked ahead, sniffing every path, always guarding. As they reached the high cliffs, Jack looked around. So, this is where your people tested themselves? Verena nodded. If you could pass the Beast Gate, you were seen as one of us. What's the Beast Gate? Jack asked. She pointed to a large stone arch ahead, carved with fangs and claws. A narrow bridge stretched across a deadly drop. On the other side, a pedestal, a glowing orb, and the ancient crest of her clan. You walk the bridge alone. If the beast guarding it accepts you, it lets you pass. If not, she didn't finish. Jack raised a brow. Let me guess. You want me to try it? No, she said seriously. Skarn wants you to try it. Jack looked down at the beast, who was now staring at him without blinking. Wait, he wants me to walk the death bridge? Skarn growled once. Verena crossed her arms. He believes you are ready. Jack sighed. I never should have scratched his neck. He thinks we're best friends now. But then he stepped forward. Carefully, slowly, he walked to the edge of the bridge. It swayed in the wind. The drop below was hundreds of meters deep. One wrong step. He looked back. Verena's eyes were wide, but proud. He stepped onto the bridge. One plank creaked. Another cracked slightly. He kept going. Halfway across, he felt the wind change. Then, something growled. Not Skarn. Another guardian beast, a hidden trial, ancient and alive. It stepped from the shadows across the bridge, tall with bone armor and glowing blue fangs. A spirit beast, summoned long ago by Verena's ancestors to test those seeking the Sci-Fang bloodline. Jack froze. The beast stared into his soul. Jack didn't raise a weapon. He didn't challenge it, he just stood tall. Then, he did something bold. He bowed his head, not in fear, but in respect. The spirit beast tilted its head, then vanished into glowing dust. Jack crossed the final step. He reached the pedestal and touched the orb. It lit up bright red, then slowly turned blue. From across the canyon, Verena gasped. That means, she whispered, he's been accepted. Skarn let out a deep, proud roar. Jack returned with dust on his boots and a smirk on his face. So what does that get me? A shiny medal? Verena looked at him, her voice quiet but strong. It means, you're one of us now. Jack stared into her eyes. He stepped closer. I don't want to be one of you, he said. I want to be with you. She didn't speak. She just kissed him. Not long, not dramatic, but enough. Enough to say, you're mine, and I'm yours. Skarn let out a low groan, like he'd been waiting for it all along. That night they made camp under the stars. 3 hearts, 1 bond, not just between beast and girl, but now, between beast, girl, and man. The message came at dawn. A deep space beacon lit up near Verena's canyon. Jack checked the signal. It was encrypted but familiar. Then came the words. Warning. High-value target located. Recovery unit en route. ETA. 1 hour. Jack see? Blood ran cold. They found us, he whispered. Verena stood beside him, reading the data. These aren't bounty hunters. This is a private military company. Jack nodded. Heavy weapons. War machines. They won't stop for anything. He turned to her. You need to run. But Verena stepped forward. I'm done running. Skarny growled beside them, ready for war. They prepared fast. Traps, ration packs, weapons. But deep down, they knew it might not be enough. As the sun rose, the sound of engines shook the sky. Dropships, gun blades, mech suits, soldiers in black armor with silver visors. They didn't bother hiding. They landed right in front of the canyon and demanded one thing. Surrender the beast, or die beside it. Jack loaded his rifle. Let's give them hell. Verena nodded, spear in hand. And Skarn? He let out a roar so loud it shook the cliffs. The first wave came, drones and foot soldiers. The traps helped slowing them down, but the enemy kept advancing. Jack fought fiercely, but he was only human. Verena danced like lightning, her movements, deadly and graceful. Still they were being pushed back. That's when a plasma shell hit near Jack, throwing him against a wall. He collapsed, groaning in pain. Blood on his temple. Jack, Verena screamed. She tried to reach him, but a mech stepped in front of her, aiming a cannon. Skarn moved before she could. The beast leapt into the air, slamming into the mech and tearing through metal like paper. But more machines arrived, dozens. They fired shock nets at Skarn, explosive darts, gravity anchors. Skarn fought like a storm, but even storms have limits. Finally, the beast fell to his knees, roaring in pain, chains locking around his limbs. Jack tried to stand. He reached for Verena's hand, but they were surrounded. The enemy commander stepped forward, laughing. "You put up a good fight, but now it's over." Jack looked into Verena's eyes. Not yet. Then something happened. Something impossible. The ground shook. The stone under their feet began to glow, a symbol burning into the rock, ancient, alive. The crest of the Skyfang clan, and Skarn, was glowing too. His eyes turned golden. The chains snapped. Verena gasped. "He's activating the final bond." Jack asked, "What is that?" She whispered, "The beast gives everything, even its life, to protect its chosen soul." The soldiers opened fire, but Skarn roared one last time, releasing a wave of energy so powerful it cracked the air itself. A shockwave burst out in every direction. Machines exploded. Troops were thrown into the sky. Ships lost power and fell. Every enemy in sight was wiped clean. Then, silence. Skarn stood still, then slowly collapsed. Verena ran to him. Jack followed, limping. She dropped to her knees and held his giant head. "No, please." Skarn blinked once, then twice. He licked her hand gently. Then, his body faded, not into death, but into light. Golden dust floated into the air, swirling around Verena and Jack. The light sank into their skin, into their hearts. The final bond was complete, not an end, but a beginning. Weeks later, the canyon was quiet again, but not empty. Jack and Verena had rebuilt the hideout, together, stronger walls, solar power, a working comm station. But more than that, they built something else. A home. No longer outcasts, no longer alone. And on the tallest rock outside, carved into stone with care, a symbol of the Skyfang beast, the one who gave them everything. Jack sometimes swore he could still hear Skarn's breath in the wind. And Verena, she no longer walked alone. She walked hand in hand with the man who feared nothing, not even her monster, because he understood real strength isn't in muscle or weapons, it's in who you choose to stand beside.